Welcome to press briefing today. Just relatively not a lot to cover as far as recent events, but we'll cover things and then leave some time for some of the questions I know you guys have. Initially, though, something that was in the news last night, and again, we'll follow up with a little bit today because it showed up in the call log as an arson. As I've mentioned in the past, there was a fire in the 900 block of North Spring last night. It was reported. I think some of the news crews were out there, but it shows up on the log as an arson. Again, pretty standard. If there's a fire, there's an investigation that goes along with it. One male was injured in that, transported for further medical attention, be cooperating with fire to do kind of further that investigation, look for a cause. And again, not saying anything definitively at this moment, but it's just an investigation is in process, as there is with any time a fire takes place. Again, good cooperation with Sioux Falls Fire and Sioux Falls Police in handling those and keeping it contained. Other things in the news, we did have a couple aggravated assaults, but they're, hate to say inconsequential when it's aggravated assault, but no injury and no actual much force was used there. And looking through the other logs, a lot of the other stuff was just pretty inconsequential. So slower news day in Sioux Falls, but I know you guys have some questions and some things you'd like to cover. So, if you have. Oh yeah, sorry, force a habit. You have to train me better next time. Get my radio down. So.
Well, first, just wondering what is and isn't illegal in Sioux Falls regarding fireworks.
Yeah, and it's good to bring this up. We'll hit this at press briefing again tomorrow because we like to make sure the last press briefing before the 4th of July, which will obviously be Sunday, anticipate a busy weekend. But this is directly, and if you're wondering, you can go to siouxfalls.org and go to fireworks safety is listed under there, and I'll just read it to you verbatim here. The use of fireworks within Sioux Falls city limits is illegal. Sioux Falls ordinance prohibits the use of fireworks within the city limits with the exception of sparklers, snakes, and other fireworks that do not have an audible report, projectile, or launching component. This is punishable by a $95 fine. Again, the key thing is there is audible report or projectile that can be flying or discharged. So it's just something we have to take stock in, and I know it becomes very difficult to enforce with a lot of what's going on. I think the main thing I can appeal to you at this point is the weather conditions are very dry. That's not a surprise to anybody, and fireworks obviously pose a major fire hazard for that. And we don't want any fires, obviously, or any damage to take place due to fireworks. The other thing I urge and consider you is to be considerate of your neighbors. As we were discussing, not everybody gets July 5th off, or a lot of people have to go to work. And a lot of times I just think we see some kind of lack of courtesy to neighbors when we're shooting off fireworks at all hours of the night. We will have additional people out on the streets looking for fireworks issues. And again, traditionally, with work being off, it's just a very busy time for us typically as far as other police calls as well. So we're making sure we're ready for that. Again, we'll cover some of those at the press briefing tomorrow as well. Other things to consider too is just pets, and I think we'll have some other stuff coming out on that as well. And of course, some of our veterans, other people with PTSD. The fireworks rules are not in place because everybody hates fun. I think they're in place. I think everybody recognizes this, to protect property, to also maintain some semblance of respect and courtesy for your neighbors. And I think a lot of us have been kept up by fireworks before when we have to work early in the morning. And just want to encourage you to be good neighbors and think about those aspects. And again, there are some fireworks that are allowed within city limits, sparklers, snakes, and other fireworks that do not have an audible report, projectile, or launching component. So again, we'll hit that more tomorrow, but we may as well hit it early and often that those are the fireworks laws, also available on siouxfalls.org. If you search fireworks, you'll be able to get those rules and regulations.
Is there a number you're supposed to call if you want to report fireworks?
Yeah, so we have two numbers. 911 is the emergency number, which everybody knows. And then there's a non-emergency number, which is 367-7000, right? So again, you want to use discretion when you use 911 as opposed to a non-emergency situation. Now, we have had actually in the past assaults with fireworks where people have shot artillery shells at people. That's obviously a little bit different if somebody's doing something like that with a firework. But just again, that's the numbers to use and report. And again, a lot of it comes back to as well, parents knowing what your kids are doing out shooting fireworks, but also parents setting some good examples as far as the fireworks that they're participating with.
Anything to add about how the police department plans to enforce the new teen driving changes?
Yeah, and so this is new. I was in the previous legislative session, but then delayed with COVID. I think they just delayed putting it into place, and I think it may not be on everybody's radar. And so we'll go through that. 1 second here. Oh, somebody sent me an email so I could jump in it. There we go. Yeah, and again, a lot of this stuff is available if you search South Dakota codified law on any whatever the web browser of your choosing. 3212-11. It said it requires a person with an instruction minor permit issued after July 1st. Originally it was 2020, but now 2021. Hold that permit for 180 days. Drive a minimum of 50 hours with a licensed adult. 10 hours in inclement weather, 10 hours at night, and requires the parent or legal guardian to attest and ready that these driving requirements have been met before application for a restricted permit. Now, there's instruction permits which require you to drive, and then you can use that in the South Dakota driver's license system to get a restricted permit, which allows a minor to drive by themselves without that instruction. And then again, there's further stipulations that put there and some other things that go along once you have that restricted permit as far as how many people can ride in the car. Goes down here. No person other than immediate family or members of the household for the first 6 months. After 6 months, only one passenger under 18, unless it's an immediate family member or the passenger is a member of the household. So again, what we're looking at here, I think is, and I'm gonna say, parents make rules for kids when they drive. And I think when I was a kid, my parents said, okay, you can drive to and from here. You can't give your friends rides. You can't ride in other people's cars. I think it just kind of provides, some of that framework, and then kind of backs a little bit what parents' rules set for their kids. Now, is this something that's going to be high on our enforcement action list? We will not be driving around looking for who's in cars and asking if they're friends, how many household members. You kind of get my point. But I think this is something that if you're out causing problem with your car as a young person, that these are the laws that kind of establish like that. It's no secret that many times young drivers have a learning curve as far as what responsible driving is, and sometimes people don't figure that out even as adults. But this kind of just sets some framework and some groundwork again for that. And it was like I said, not old, but passed in the previous legislative session that was delayed a bit. And again, had to kind of dig back through the archives to find our legal update for that one. And now that, if that's coming out, a lot of these questions could be directed to South Dakota State driver's licensing too, because I'm not sure how they're going to receive that written notice from the parent if there's forms. I think that's something that we'll need to update from them too. But from a legal standpoint, we just want you to drive safely. Kids, abide by your parents' rules for your cars. Drive around, be safe. And I think this is something that really is more procedural as far as getting your permits issued and license issued. So, any other questions?
Yeah, just going back to that house fire.
Yep.
Last night, do you have a status update on the person?
I know transported, and I know there was some injuries. Fire may have some. I don't know. We don't have any at this point. Sometimes when injuries happen, again, there's some privacy stuff that goes along with that too. So, male was yep. And again, that one, I saw some of your footage you guys took, it was pretty substantial burns to the house. And again, our fire department does a great job of containing incidents quickly and stopping the spread of fire to other property. But that's, as far as I have, the details are pretty limited at this point, with investigations still preliminary.
You know what time the call came in for that?
Yep. Call for the house fire came in at about 8:07 last night. Yep. And again, I think they were quickly able to determine that there was two people in the house, but they had seen one person leave already. And so, again, looks like investigators are still doing that, and he had kind of made it to one portion of the house and is able to be rescued from that and taken from there.
They displaced from them.
It looks like at this point they're displaced from the home, yeah. Yep. In fact, yeah, it looks like that. Anything else I can help you with today?
When do you become chief?
Oh, sure. So it'll go to advise and consent at the city council next Tuesday, July 6th. So at that point, being a mayoral appointment, the city council still has to approve that mayoral appointment. And then if that's approved, again, we're already obviously having discussions talking about making sure everybody's up to speed. But Chief Burns will retire later in July, and then that'll be the transition phase. So again, yeah, July 6th is when that comes, and so I think we'll have some time to chat after that. But city council needs to make that approval at that point. But, all right. Well, thanks everybody.